So anyway, guys, here we are again, and I'm saying we because today I have my very, very close and dear friend with me. I'm almost in tears just even saying that. I know. Yes, we've gone a long way together, and right use of will has took us places we did not possibly know exist in the human psyche or in human, that the part of us that is the will we did not know, and we're still discovering it, but we did not know it exists.
That's right. That's right. I'm Cindee.
Hi, Cindee.
Here sitting with Cole at his invitation, and so this will be a experiment.
Yeah, we said like, oh, how are we gonna do this? Because I normally just sit down, and I'm so used to doing this, and suddenly this is a different dynamic, and so I said, well, maybe we connect through music. And last night, last few weeks, I've been tickled by these Goldberg variations by J.S. Bach, but I always loved this so much, and I want to make it sound very mine. And so I've been recording it at different speeds and different tones and different things, and so I just played that because particularly that piece as I played it really made us.
Yes, I love Bach generally, and what Cole has done with it, with his guitar piece, is very moving. In fact, I had to get up and start twirling around and feeling
Dancing.
in a beautiful state listening to it.
So anyway, it's only the first half of it, so it's only a minute long. So here it is.
Just lovely. And what I'm getting, I think, in terms of how it could apply to right use of will, is there's such a vulnerability and a variety in Bach, but at the same time this exquisite sort of order or safety. I don't know how to explain it, but my body feels both excited and held.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's
something about Bach. It's like a freedom within a safe thing, and that reminds me a lot of what I've learned with working with the right use of will, that the idea of safety, of being safe to even find your feelings, let alone express them.
Right.
That's been a very large part for me, and our friendship, which had been very strong even before right use of will, I think definitely contributed to my willingness and my openness to explore the work with you.
Yeah, it was a profound journey. We closed ourselves off once for a few weeks, and we just said we'll just read, and we did a paragraph each. And sometimes he would read and suddenly be asleep, or I'll never forget. Jesus. Cindee goes, Cole, got something to express. And we had this thing, I was like, if I was okay with it, I kind of invited her, like, calling, like, moving my hands as like, come on, bring it on. And if I wasn't ready, I would put my hands like, stop, I'm not ready. And Cindee said, I got something to express. And to me, it felt like, I think I'm just gonna experience an atomic explosion right now. So I went down the paddock in Australia, hot summer. I got down to paddock, and I looked back, and Cindee was like, kind of a bit smallish, but further back. And I could feel how she was holding it. It's almost like telling a pregnant woman who is just about to birth a kid, just like, just hang on a second, we're not ready yet.
Yeah.
And then I turn around and I go, I gotta go a bit further. So I went a bit further, and then I turned around and I said, go ahead. And it was seriously like, I guess, it's like an atomic explosion of light, You just like cleared the area, there was no need for mowing. It was just like probably one of the most profound experiences, seeing how big the will is, and when it's free, and as you said,
the relief, the release, the wonder, the wonder at discovering. All I can say is the love within myself, because the self-love and the self-forgiveness that pours in when something deep has been released is incomparable to any other work I've ever done. I've done lots of different things in my life. I've been one of these adventurers in many different paths.
You used to run the women's...
I run women's workshops, working with Jungian psychology. For many, many years. And touched upon it, intuitively had a feeling for what it was about. But again, the culture we live in is just so deeply spirit polarized that it wasn't even accessible, even though in my body I knew it, I was searching for it, I was seeking, but I couldn't give myself permission, and was not really allowed by anything around me to touch upon it. So this work, the right use of will, has been just such a gift, and it's ongoing. I know that I have met this work at a later age. I wish so much and hope that the younger generations will have an opportunity to jump into this a lot sooner than we have.
And they do, actually.
Yeah, I think
there's a lot of movement now.
I think it's happening more automatically because of the fact that it is alive on the planet. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really good how you started saying about the safety.
Yeah.
Because this feminine essence in us, gosh, I just get teary even mentioning it. And also I have to say, when I sit with Cindee, I usually begin to feel feelings I can't access on my own, because her presence generates also safety for me as a man, to be able to open up places that I might not have even be aware. I remember once we were doing a session, we were reading, and she goes, "Oh my God, Cole, what's that?"
Yes, I remember that time.
And I went like, oh, this is what? I'm not feeling anything. I just go, oh God, this is intense. What is this? I go like, I've got no idea. And this is a beautiful example of how if we are a man and we have a woman partner, friend, ally who understands this process, they can help us to get in touch with that feeling. So let's say here I am as a spirit, more very blue, very a lot of light, yet I am not in touch with all my feelings, right? And so she would reflect a feeling in me that I wasn't aware of, and I would have this wall, or what we call a gap, between me, which is conscious, and this feeling that's unconscious. And interestingly enough, I said, well, could you magnify that feeling, remember?
Yes.
So can you feel it more than...
Yes. I can almost remember it. I can kind of feel it already just talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then through Cindee, I actually go, oh, you mean this? And it was like this deep hatred that I would have never believed that I carried in my...
And the strangest dynamic when you, like, talking about that, you think that would be frightening to me, but in the state I was in of such the strength of the will, when he was able to express that, I felt included, and I felt a communication and a depth in both of us that was born in that moment.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite strange. It seems very paradoxical. You'd think that if you're going to get in touch with feelings that are so
negative,
quote, negative, that it would be a painful process. But what occurs instead is this explosion of joy, really, when you're
right.
able to get right to the core of it. There is this transformation that occurs, and you really get to see that there is no such thing as a feeling that isn't just withheld love. That's always withheld love.
Yes, and then that's what we call, in actually, just to sneak in a little Course of Love idea of dialogue. That is the real dialogue, because I am feeling same thing as you're feeling, because you're already feeling me.
Yes.
And that really brings us to that Lemurian communication where, I like that bird, huh?
Yeah.
It's called a whip bird, by the way.
Bird.
Got hundreds of them. And the Lemurian communication was just that I would feel something and the other person would feel what I feel. And it would be identical, you know. Sometimes I read some books, I say, you don't know what people feel. And I say, rubbish, I actually do. Because how many times did we really look into, do we feel the same? And we could describe exactly to minute detail.
And it gets to the point that when you feel that kind of safety with someone and have had a few of those experiences, you can just look in someone's eyes. You can just glance. Cole and I can glance at one another. And it's not like sort of a special... No, there's nothing about it that's excluding of anyone else or anything else around. In fact, if anything, it's more a joyful inclusion of everything that you can recognize with at least one other person, that there's something going on so much bigger than what appears.
And everyone has the same capacity. We all have this. We just forgotten it, or we denied it, or societal conditioning has trained us to avoid it. You know, avoidance of true expressions of feelings, like, oh, I'm not going to say it because what if I hurt their feelings, right?
That's right, and just the vulnerability, particularly I think for us as women, we have been so punished, so that's not the right word exactly, but we've been so imprinted with the idea that emotions are not as important or valuable or useful as thoughts. The mind is the key.
Seat of power.
Yeah, the seat of we, we who have been born in female form, and some who haven't been born in it but still have it, have to learn very quickly that it's just not safe to be that vulnerable. Mm. So it's a real unlearning that has to occur with the right person or the right group, however it can happen. It's very individual. I mean, we've found very few people who
could join us.
Who can join us. But I think the time is ripe. I really do. I think it's time now that, and I think people are very naturally being inclined toward this kind of experience, this kind of seeking, I guess you'd say.
It is, because we think if we're spiritual, that we're doing good enough.
Yeah.
But actually, that's just an invention of that polarity of the spiritual. So the righteous of will actually starts with that very sentence. It says, well, unconditional love of spirit has been already known for quite some time, but now it's time for another energy on earth, and that is a divine will. And we often hear the will of God, and we go, what the is
it's
it?
Just so...
What's the will of God, right?
And the will of God, we've discovered through the right use of will, is our very own will. Our very own will in terms of what we desire, what we intuitively are drawn towards, what we love ourselves, that we often push down or we deny because, that's not right, that's not going to align with what I think the will of God is, which is this very intense sort of rule-bound idea of rightness and righteousness and
guilt, really.
And guilt. I remember when in the, I think it's even on the first page of the Right Use of Will, where it said the personal will is not in conflict with the will of God.
Right.
And I thought, what? Really? I had never, I had just automatically believed that my own will needed to be disciplined and shaped up in order to be approved of by God.
One day judged for the sins it committed.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's so strong around the world, huh?
Yeah.
So coming back to that story, when I felt that hatred.
Oh yes. I cut you off there a bit. Sorry.
No. Someone said to me, "Hey, you started a sentence, you didn't finish it." I said, "Yeah, that's me." So I'm a bit more careful. Thanks for that, by the way. And then, this incredible. First of all, it was a hate that I didn't know I would have such thing. Then, one thing that was very clear, I had no resistance against it. So it flew out of me, virtually expressed, right? I didn't hurt anyone. Actually, you're saying it was beautiful?
It was clean.
Clean.
It was clean.
How nice is that?
Yes.
A clean hate?
Yeah, it was clean. And it felt like something was being set free, not just from you, but into the world.
Just speaking about this, to me, this feels like an evolution.
Yeah.
There's one chapter in the Right Use of Will, or in the fourth book, saying, in all of time on earth, no progress has been made. And it's due to the fact that our dark feelings had no chance yet to be expressed. They've been controlled and manipulated and judged as not good. And yet, and here is the punchline of that story, and probably one of my most deepest experiences with Right Use of Will. So I just sat there and I go do you mind if I just express all my hate? And all I could feel is your open arms and your welcoming presence. You really could stay from my worst and not run away, not run away. When I went into this darkest, most horrible Luciferian, white, disgusting light, where if I ever expressed it anywhere, people would hide, and you just went, call, bring it on. And I felt so loved.
And it was a beautiful thing.
Isn't it again?
It sounds like we're kind of
right.
sadists or masochists or something, but it's not at all that way.
That is right use of will.
It's right use of will.
Right.
It's similar, I would say, to how a loving mother is with a child who's having a tantrum. You hold the child, you You allow the child to move the feelings.
Yeah.
And if you push the child down or punish it for having an expression, there you go. And I think most of us of a certain age, that was what we experienced as children. But it was very loving. I felt honored, just honored to be allowed to be there with you during that.
And then for me, it was like, wow, I'm loved in a place where I could not love myself yet.
Yeah.
So you were like an example life. You actually demonstrated that I can be loved in any of my sort of unlovables.
Yes.
Right? And now comes the kicker, because I don't know, I expressed I lost a sense of time, but it felt like I was expressing for a long time, and I was expressing, and I was expressing about I hate certain foods, and I hate this, and I hate that. And then it was done. And this is where Right Yourself says, allow yourself to express feeling until you're really finished. And here it comes. Suddenly, I had no hate that was not expressed yet. This was none of it left. And then from that very place where hate was coming from in me, which felt like a really, really specific sort of energetic place, came the most exquisite love I have ever had a chance to experience on earth yet at that time.
I got to share it.
you got to share it. And that united us, they united us like into this most exquisite. Again, it's just deepened our safety, deepened our...
Yes, and I would have to say, from where I sit with it as a woman, it's been such a gift to me to have a male friend. And we have great safety. Cole and I are friends. We've known each other for 25 years now.
Yeah, it would be.
And it's the deliciousness of having a man in my life who can allow me to be everything that I am.
And more.
Yeah, and more. With unconditional love, non-judgment, and at the same time, real discernment. He catches me. If I'm off on some little mental tangent, which I can tend to be quite easily, he'll just give me a quirky little look, and I'll go, "Oh, okay, yep, I can see that. I'm going off again."
And what do I say? Okay, Cindee, what's the feeling? Well, so I said, "No, Cindee, there is no well. What's the feeling? What is that thing that does not use words?"
Yeah, and it's such a useful tool.
And then it comes, no?
Yeah.
And then I'm in awe because, again, you express that which every man wishes woman would express, instead of having often like a verbal diarrhea about what she thinks is going on. You get this delicious feeling of whatever it is. Yeah. Even if it's like the seemingly ugliest feeling that we've judged forever, it expresses like a pure essence of a being.
I think something that I would say that we might take for granted, that's so important for people to know, is that there has to be a basic understanding that experiences that come to us are brought to us through our own magnification, drawing them to us. So we are
magnetizing.
Magnetizing to us. We are not victims of what occurs in our lives. And there are moments where we get confused with that, and it can't possibly seem true. But in moments of sanity, we must accept that what comes to us is for our own healing, for our own wholeness. If it's uncomfortable in any way, there it is. It's a trigger. It's a trigger to let us know it's an opportunity, and the opportunity is to feel. To feel what the experience brings, and it may not be safe to do it in that exact moment of the occurrence of the event, but to become conscious enough to hold at least the memory of it, so that when you're on your own, or in the case of Cole and I having a moment together to kind of process these things, allow the feeling to come up. And it's so important to understand that. Otherwise, it can be a very terrifying thing to be trying to express feelings that you think are coming at you randomly.
Without consciousness.
Yeah, without consciousness. So it's an important underpinning. I would say to any consciousness work, not just right use of will, to any of the consciousness work that we do.
I think really that all of this comes from that container of safety.
Absolutely.
Isn't it number one?
Number one is safety.
And mixed with the deep, profound intent to no matter what arises, that will heal it. That we want to heal. We want love there. We want healing.
Yes.
We want transformation.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever made you wrong for anything, and I don't.
No.
I don't remember once
No.
that you were saying to me something like, "Well, Cole, you're not expressing something," or it was just always like, "Hey, what's that?" And you go, "Oh, where? There." And you go, "Oh, thank you." Huh?
Yeah.
How beautiful. Like, it really was an effortless.
It's a gift, yes.
It's an effortless. When a safety is number one, it opens up the link, or the communicative link, would you call it? Or it widens the... God, what
the availability.
The availability of what's really there.
Of what's really there.
And knowing that it's going to be received. And also knowing that if you can't receive it, that you would just let me know.
Yeah.
So, like I said to you that day.
I don't override myself.
Yes, like I had to go... You said, I've got something to express, and I had to feel into you to find out if this is safe for me.
For you.
Despite the fact that we're already feeling very safe. But to deepen my safety, I had to place myself far enough.
Yes.
And we also had really an amazing thing happen, and this is what I found really good. We discovered this, was that if let's say if I say, I don't think I can receive this, you could still turn around and express it at something else.
Yes.
So you did not have to deny yourself anyway.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just like, what, I can't receive it right now, right? And you say, cool. You turn around and just go, Because
even the not receiving is an honest communication back.
Bingo.
It still allows the safety of now myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Shall we, maybe we share how we did the safety in the first place?
Oh, okay.
Because we developed it, okay? So this sense of safety, you can develop with somebody, but also with yourself. Because really, seriously, the spirit and the will in you, I guarantee it, no matter how evolved you think you are, is at some odds. And you might say, well, I trust my will. But check in if your will trusts you.
Yes, that's going to be more the case.
Actually, that was the two things we did really well together. Was we learned it from David Data also.
Mm-hmm.
Was the development of trust and development of safety. Mm-hmm. So, that I would say, hey Cindee, how safe do you feel with me right now? From 0 to 10. Right?
And then I would...
So you take a while.
I'd take a while.
And then you see what number occurs.
Then I'm examining, and I'd say a 5.
Great. 5. Just kidding.
I've just insulted him.
I was hoping 7, but I'll deal with my disappointment. No, we just want to demonstrate this.
Yeah, this is
it's just channeling a little bit of humor into the serious endeavor of trying to get this into,
Right.
trying to explain this. It's an art, isn't it? So she says 5. And instead of me going into, I just did, going into like what? I go, what is the first thing I need to do for you to feel safer?
In this particular case, and
Yeah.
again, this is not a common situation because we are sitting kind of facing the same way, I would need you to face me directly.
Okay.
I would need your body to be facing my body directly. And
Great.
then I would feel way more held by our togetherness. Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, then I readjust my body, and she could even move my body or move my head if I'm like tilting to the left or right. And as soon as she feels that I've gone up and she feels safer, she says 7 or she says 8.
She says 7 or 8 or
yeah.
whatever it is. And it
Until-
takes, and the woman has to be courageous as well, because there's just this thing about telling a man somewhere he's not performing in some way. So there has to be a willingness to be very honest. So now Cole is facing me more, and he's really giving me his full attention, looking into my eyes. Now he's smiling as well, and it's just fantastic. I feel completely held there. Thank you.
And you're feeling it, right?
Oh, strongly.
And I'm feeling you feeling it. Right? So now not only that, we're joining in a feeling of safety, yeah?
Yes.
And let's say she would say 8 and couldn't go any further, right? Let's do that example, because it's a good example.
All right.
So, no matter what I did, you would just keep saying, yeah, that's 8, that's good, 8. Maybe 8 and a quarter, but 8, yeah, 8. And it wouldn't go anywhere. I would ask her a question. I said, like, is there something you can change for you to feel safer with me? And that gives you an opportunity to explore what is it that you actually putting into the field, no?
Yes, it's great because it's the same. I would need to face you, because you've turned to face me, but because of the way we're recording this, we're sitting in a certain posture that makes it awkward to do that.
And
but
we've got this microphone and a recording studio between us, so it's a little bit awkward.
So we can't actually do it in a full way, but I can feel definitely that if I were to turn my body completely to face you, there would be a much stronger container for us. And
you would increase your number by your own volition, by your own movement. Yes. Great. And then we swap over, she asked me, and I say, do you feel, and you basically reverse until you make 10 each. When that happens, that's already union.
And it's a funny thing because it sounds really pedantic. Like when you describe it as a process, it sounds like, oh my gosh. But when you actually do it and you feel it, it's really fun.
It's fun, isn't it?
It's fun, and there's a lot of joy and laughter, and just the joining is such a delicious feeling to feel that you're there with another human being in a genuine, honest way.
Yeah. Where everything flies, everything can be real. And so that was just safety. Now we go trust, can do the same thing. How much do you trust me from 0 to 10? And she goes 7, whatever. Right. And I go, what's the first thing I need to do? So you can trust me more. And then she feedbacks me, and particularly as a man who is interested in evolving his presence and his depth, I am so welcoming to any feedback that could be even embarrassing for me. I don't care what it is, as far as that it's real, that and it doesn't come from judgment. It doesn't come that you triggered because you want to manipulate me in any way. It's just simply helping me to become conscious of where my energy doesn't flow particularly as a woman. And that is really the function of the will.
Mm-hmm.
Even in ourselves, if I'm alone, I can do that same thing. Hello, Will, how are you feeling with me? She goes, fuck off, Cole. I don't like you today. It's like, oh my God, what am I doing? Right?
Yeah.
So we could develop trust. And then comes an incredible thing as well, where to be able to be, for the spirit to be truly present for the will, yeah, it's all to do about his presence, right?
Yes.
And it's all to do with her capacity to open so she can reflect. And here comes another really important subject of the will, which is will is reflective. Her function is to reflect, right?
Yes.
Spirit inspires and the will responds to the inspiration. So I come up with like, hey, even that's an inspiring idea. So like, hey, I want to be present. It's an inspiring idea.
Yes.
So how present do I feel with you right now?
You feel a 10 at the moment.
And what does that do to you?
It's so relaxing. But not relaxing in a fall asleep way.
Right.
Relaxing in a very alive, vulnerable way, which is really yummy for me. And it's rare to have those moments.
Right.
So I value it.
And when you say that makes me more present. Because I have something to be present for.
Yes.
So like naggy voice, telling me how I should be more advanced or do better than I am, it's not gonna inspire me. What inspires me is to get my own reflection through you.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not tripping on my own presence. I'm getting you enliven my presence. And this is an interesting thing, because that line says, Spirit inspires and will respond to the inspiration. Well, my experience is when that will opens space, I get inspired. And that's where the idea of a muse, she's his muse, right? When a feminine brings this feeling quality into the relationship, right? That's so, for a man, that's like ignition. They ignite his, next minute he's wearing different clothes, he's got more showers, he's on a mission, he gets inspired.
And the feminine loves that. And what it does is, this is my own very real personal experiences, and when I have those kind of moments with you or with
your man,
with my man, I am somehow, I now give myself permission to be way more my whole self. I feel the immensity of my own being somewhere when that's inspired, or it's hard to describe it. But if I don't get that back, I sort of feel like my energy is always pulling for it,
right,
or always looking for this something, this unnamed something
that's
and I'm looking for
presence.
it. Yeah, and I'm looking for it, and I feel kind of, gee, how come I can't find this right within myself?
Right.
And I know I can, to some degree. Of course I can, because I am all of it myself.
That's right.
But within a relationship, or particularly in any male-female dynamic, it's kind of, here we are. You're in a man body, I'm in a woman body.
That's it.
It's whether we like it or not.
Yep.
Those are what we've come in with. And it's an
And even you look
amazing
at it,
thing to serve. You suddenly realize, oh, the woman, the will that I am, can completely serve the masculine in a way that it can't really do by itself.
It's
and then
unbelievable.
Maybe it can do by itself after it gets the example. Then it suddenly knows.
But you know what?
Oh,
I don't think it can. I think the design of creation is that feminine inspires this. The masculine inspiration. Like, even when I look at my own transformation, right? First, I had, through Course of Miracles, I had like an upper level, like awakening.
Yeah.
It was just undoubtedly. I mean, you met me,
Yes.
right?
That's when I first met you.
Yes. So I was really, a lot of light, a lot of
Very shiny.
Very shiny.
Very bright.
and I loved the what do you call it,
The intellectual, the mental.
thing of the Course of Miracles was like amazing structures, like really shows you how the mind, what it's doing to how it goes against itself, really become aware of all the attack thoughts and so I had a lot of light, but every single time something emotional would come up with somebody, I would just feel this irritation. I would feel like, ugh, I said, why am I having these feelings? I'm trying to get rid of them. And then when I discovered right use of will, it just went like, okay, so now you're ready, you have some light, let's go and have a look at this dark side of the moon.
Yeah, and you realize that you've actually been judging your feelings.
Oh my God.
That all of that light was used against yourself so much of the time.
And you know what else? And actually it's written in Righteous of Will, it says that the spirit bounced off the will to spark a little light for itself.
Used it
like men use women,
Yes.
for whatever.
Well,
and
the
once
reflection is clear in the world.
it is, isn't it? It reflects
Mm-hmm.
perfectly. And so then came that whole section that I talked about a few podcasts ago about the awakening of the will happened. Like it was actual an awakening. Suddenly the mother spoke. Jeez, huh?
Oh.
I know, like boom, like you can, or like you just did the prayer position, and you can nothing but bow down. When her true presence, her true light comes in, there is bowing down. There is not. You can't even do anything else.
No.
I remember my body was being bowed, and I said, "Why am I bowing?" It was like completely, and then, I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she could hear it again. See, she was the one who heard it. I didn't hear it. I was just bowing down. I was like, why am I bowing down? It's almost like something was bowing me down. So like, you know what? Just bow down. Let's not even discuss this any further. Just do it. So, and you cannot not bow down, truly.
You can't. There's just such
And this is, I find,
deep
often,
devotion.
Yeah.
You feel that place in yourself of such devotion. And what's so beautiful about it is that it is absolutely self-recognition at the same time. It's not bowing down to something other than yourself. You
bingo.
realize that it's such a gift to you. It's it's like the mother just said, yes, it is you. Yes.
Like that individual will, right? She's your individual will.
She's there, and you've never been wrong for your feelings. Your feelings have been what's just kept you alive and kept your heart still beating. And
But that's the next step, because without the will there is no heart.
Yeah.
There's only just an idea of love, right?
Yeah.
True?
Yeah.
So that's the next thing that's coming, right? I wanted to say something as you were saying that. Oh, this is so beautiful. Anyway, maybe it'll come back to me. So let's say that was the next one. Look at your face. It's like, Cindee's like, wanted to say one thing, is this is often a big misunderstanding in Right You So Well, that people generally associate mother with what she holds.
Yeah.
And because she's an unconditional acceptance, which she is.
Yes.
She embraces everything that comes her way. And when a spirit pukes, she goes, embrace. And so she holds the puke. And when the spirit rejects, she embraces and she holds that. Yeah. And then she becomes dark and ugly. Most people like, ooh, I don't want to go near my big feelings. Like,
but it's what she's holding.
That's what she's holding.
She's holding it in.
But that's not who she is.
Yeah.
And that was a big That was a
Yeah.
big shift when I realized,
Yeah.
hang on a second, mother is this, where you bow down and you go, how blessed am I
Yeah.
that she even waved at me,
Yeah.
you know, that she
Yeah.
even say, hey,
Yeah.
you know, you're good.
Yeah.
I know your heart, you know.
Yeah. I know your heart.
And then the heart is born. The real Christmas comes in, and the little Jesus pops, or Mary, you know,
Or
for that
Mary,
sake, you know,
yeah.
the feminine and masculine heart.
Yeah.
And God, there's a big story there in the Righteous of Book 5, you know, the yellow book, when it goes into the expression of the heart and heartlessness. So that was only when this will became open and again
Until
part
the
of me.
until the spirit can stand strong enough and conscious enough to engage with the will, and the will has to go through those layers before she can even really show her beauty, and the spirit has to have enough consciousness and strength to allow the movement and to hold the movement in the body. And the body does interesting things.
And that's the fourth part.
Yeah.
This is where you have an awakening of your spirit. Then comes the will, which reignites the spirit into this undivided presence, where the spirit says, I am with you unconsciously now. So she can pour out everything she's been holding, and the spirit goes, yeah, all this shit belongs to me, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart for being totally unconscious. And you know, it is the evolution of the four parts. And then when the spirit is ignited, will is reflecting the ignition and ignites herself. She receives his loving light. She births the child, which is the creation.
I mean, all the symbolism is in our own lives. Mothers, fathers, children. It's all there. It's all symbols of a very deep personal process that has to occur in each of our bodies.
And then we discover this potential we have in ourselves, which is igniting all this light in ourselves. And then the body's there.
The body is there with it.
It begins to reflect it.
And you feel the freedom of the body, the looseness and the
joy,
and the freedom to get up and dance, and the freedom to
like hearing that music at the beginning, you know?
And the freedom to express all sorts of ways that you're not imprisoned anymore by all those old ideas of the way you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
That was a good rave. I don't know where we went with that, but
we went
all over the place.
We went, and it was, I think it was tangible, and you know, I'm definitely very present with that.
Me too. I'm so present. I keep kind of going in, and which is sort of the feminine way, isn't it? It's like you become so gentle and so surrendered that you can almost. It's strange because it's very conscious. I'm very, very aware at this moment. But I almost feel kind of lazily, what would you say?
Normal.
Oh, that's normal.
Exactly. Like, oh, that's normal. Oh, my natural inheritance.
Oh, it's
just
so
being normal.
Lovely.
And, yeah, isn't it?
I like me right here.
Yeah, right. Oh, nice. Thanks, Cindee. Thanks for venturing into this.
Well, thanks, Cole.
Sitting in front of this.
It's going to be curious to see what this even was, but I totally enjoyed it, and it's just such a pleasure to express about something that's totally transformed my life.
Wow. Thanks, Cindee, and thank you everybody who lasted this long and didn't didn't think like, oh God, they must be stoned or something. But you know, it's true
kind
thing.
of like that.
It's like that. You know, once I took something, I don't do drugs, but once I took something and I was just walking around this place and this exquisite love just poured out, like without any effort, without trying, without loving myself or loving my brother, nothing. It was just there and poof, this, like the mother, when the mother showed up in a way, and I say, I'm gonna learn how to do this without drugs, and
I think you have.
that's my life. I'm often, you know, call myself. So I think that's the result. You become you, and you don't change. You just become more you than you ever thought you could be, and allow yourself to be, and then you're free. Yeah, and that's the free will.
And
the will,
and I love it.
When the will is free. Okay. So
thank you, everyone, and I hope this is helpful to some degree.
Sure, and leave us a comment, and you know, if you like it, we'll do another one, and thank you.
Thank you.